Hello, my becomers. I hope everyone is doing absolutely amazing. It's Coach Tracy. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a mindset mastery and empowerment coach for Black women as I support them in healing from generational trauma, childhood trauma, relationship trauma, so that they can create and live the life that they want and deserve confidently, fearlessly, while they embrace their authentic self, ignite their purpose, and reclaim their worth. Yes, all of that. Well, I wanted to pop on here because I wanted to talk about something that came up in my mind as I was getting dressed. And it's pretty interesting. And I've had this conversation in the past, but I wanted to talk about it again. And it's about self abuse. Let's just get right down to the nitty gritty. There are four things that I really am very passionate about and very concerned about when it comes to how we treat ourselves. The first thing, many of us are just going to be really upset because we're talking about I'm abusing myself. Yeah, it's so easy to identify an abuser outside of ourselves because that's the person that's cutting, that's hurting you, that's speaking poorly to you, that's saying ugly things to you, that's punching you, that's slapping you, or something of that nature, right? So when we think of an abuser, we don't think of it as ourselves. We think of it as someone else that's hurting us. And guys, if you see me looking off, it's because I'm also recording on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So trying to kill three birds with one stone. So, yeah, it's easy to recognize an abuser outside of ourselves, right? Typically. But we never really give any thought to we could actually be abusing ourselves. So, let me talk about that. Typically, when we're thinking about abusing ourselves, we're thinking about cutting, maybe burning. Some people punch themselves. So you see some ways of that, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, let's start with the first one, negative self talk to and about yourself. Yeah. The words that we say to ourselves sometimes are really harsh. Now, I get that a lot of the commentary that goes on in our head and so forth is derived from the beliefs that we have accumulated over time from being a child, being out in the workplace, and so forth and so on. It does not negate that the talk is negative and it's abusive sometimes. Some of the things that my clients have told me that they have said about themselves are heartbreaking. And I can't even believe that people say that about themselves, right? And here's the thing, many of us would not, we would not allow anyone to say those things to us, nor would we allow anyone to say those things to someone that we love, right? Am I right about it? So if you would be so upset and angry that someone else did that to someone or even attempted to do that to you, my sister, why are you doing it to yourself? The words that we speak to ourselves should be uplifting. It should be positive. It should be encouraging. It should be supportive, right? That's one way. The second way is We deny ourselves the things that we need, the things that we desire. An example would be many of us refuse to ask for help when we know good and darn well we need help. That's that. That's a trauma response. That's that hyper independence. I don't need anybody. And sometimes it's not even so much that you don't need anybody. It's the feeling that, you know what, I just need to go ahead and get this done. I want it done right, do it right myself. I don't want to exit. I don't want to be a burden. There's so many reasons and excuses. And I'm going to say the word excuses because that's what they are. Because the response is out of fear, fear that you're going to be a burden, fear that they're not going to help you. So you're going to end up having to do it yourself. So you might as well just do it. Right? Been there, done that, have been that girl. I had to learn how to ask for help and to learn that asking for help was actually a sign of maturity, but it was also the opportunity to allow someone else to bless me and for them to be a blessing. But when you do not allow anyone to help you and you refuse to open your mouth and ask for help, you're putting all of the stress, the weight of the world, all of the burdens, everything on your shoulders, on your plate. That's abuse. That is abuse. No matter no matter how you try to slice it, it's abuse. And again, it comes from trauma. Okay. Another way that you can be abusive to yourself is not seeking healing, not seeking help to help you make the right decisions and the right choices so that you can stop the cycles of self abuse. The reason why we don't ask for help, whether it be coaching or therapy, counseling, is fear. In our culture, in our race, that's not something that we used to do. We're getting better at it, and we certainly didn't talk about mental health. And remember what we were told: what goes on in this house stays in this house. You do not tell my business. Generational trauma. So when we are not able to open our mouth and ask for the help and get the healing and the therapy and those things that we need, we stay stuck in the cycle. That's abuse. You may not want to admit it, but it is. Whew, it gets heavy, but we got to talk about this because I don't want any more of my sisters going through 2021 and beyond abusing themselves unconsciously, because it is typically unconscious. Sometimes we consciously know what we're doing, okay? But for the most part, this isn't what we really want for ourselves, okay? The third thing, you know what, let me go back. Some of the reasons also that we're not asking for the help is that we don't feel worthy, okay? That's a big one in for us. We don't feel worthy that we should even be helped. That's tough. That's a heavy one. But it all is rooted in fear. Rooted in fear, okay? The third thing is, y'all, we got to work on this unforgiveness. Some of us are still holding on to unforgiveness of self for decisions that we made when we didn't know better. You can only make the decision that you believe to be the right decision with the information that you have and the tools and resources that you have. So when you made that decision, you made the best decision for you at that time based on what you had to work with. And I know some of the decisions that many of us have made they still haunt us for various reasons. For instance, if you were someone who had an abortion and you're a Christian, or your whatever your religion might be, and of course the Bible says thou shalt not kill and so forth. But as a Christian, if you have asked God to forgive you and you have repented, he has forgiven you. And if he has forgiven you, beautiful, you need to forgive you. I know it's easier said than done, but really, is it? The reason why you can't forgive yourself is because you are judging yourself. You are judging yourself for the decision that you made. And that's what happens when we judge ourselves. We cannot let go of it. You made the decision. You said what you said, or you didn't say what you needed to say, or whatever it may have been. But it is time to forgive yourself. You're beating yourself up. That's abuse. Let me give you an example. Um, Many of us know people who have been incarcerated, right? And many of us will get firing mad. I mean, mad as 38 mad, okay? Because the person has done his or her time, right? They're doing everything they're supposed to do, that society says they're supposed to do, to be a good citizen, right? They're trying to get a job. They're trying to, they've reformed from the ways, they've been transformed. They've evolved into the person that they're supposed to be. Because 9 times out of 10, the decisions that they made were decisions because they didn't know better a lot of times. And sometimes even when they did know better, they did it anyway because they wanted to fit in. Whatever the reason is, they've done their time, they paid their debt to society, yet society continues to hold their feet to the fire, even though they have already paid their debt to society, right? We get fire and mad. Yeah, we get all up in our feelings and be ready to snatch a knot in folks, okay? Because society will not forgive them for the mistakes that they made, for the choices that they made, the decisions that they made. Now, we can get mad and upset about that, right? For someone who we know possibly, and someone we may not know. We can forgive and we can get upset about that for someone else, but we are not able to do that for ourselves. You have to do that for yourself as well. Be so upset that you are holding on to this unforgiveness in yourself because you've already paid the price. Whatever that price was, you have, for years, however long it's been, you have paid the price. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you lost weight, your hair came out, all kinds of craziness. Because unforgiveness is a heavy load, let me tell you. It puts a lot of stress on the body. And trust me when I say that the body keeps count. Right? Okay. The last thing that I want to share with you that is a form of self-abuse is the constant on the go, that hustle and grind. I know we got to do what we got to do. We got to do the work that we need to do to pay the bills. We got to make our cheddar, right? Because sometimes, our finances ain't even waving at each other. I get it. 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 Been there, done that. you know, but that constantly on the go, that's not sustainable. It's breaking us down. Okay. We're not getting proper rest. We're not getting proper nutrition. We're not going to the doctor. We're not getting checkups. We haven't had a mammogram in God knows how long. You name it, we're not doing it. That is neglect and that is a form of abuse, okay? Here's the reason why we are not able to stop on that little hamster wheel. As Black women, we have been told that our worth, and I'm not even going to say our worth, I'm going to say our value, because a lot of times they do. Our value is our value is built in how much we can produce, how much we can do, how much we can go, how much we can take. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We are human beings. Okay? We got to get off of that. That's generational trauma, but that's also societal trauma, historical trauma. Okay? And we have got to get off that hamster wheel. It's killing us slowly but surely. Okay? It is killing us. And then one of the other reasons that we can't get off of that hamster wheel and be constantly on the go, actually, is two reasons. We haven't set boundaries. And if we have set boundaries, we're not enforcing them. We darn sure ain't maintaining them. Right? And we're not using our voice and being true to ourselves. We're not saying no when we need to be saying no, when we know we want to say no. We're constantly just taking on more, taking on more, taking on more, exhausted to the point of stupidity. Just, it's ridiculous. We have got to stop this abusing of ourselves. We are worth way, way, way more. You deserve more. And the reason why we can't set those boundaries and we can't say no and we're constantly going and going is because we are afraid of being rejected. We're afraid what's going to happen if I say no. I won't have, my family won't like me, my friends won't like me. I won't have anybody if I say no. Well, they are showing you what they think of you. When a person shows you who they are, listen. And let me tell you something. When you start setting boundaries, that will test the what is the word? The character, if you will, the validity of your relationships, if you will. It will test it. If someone is upset because you have to say no to them, and you rarely say no to them, or you've never said no to them, and they have help them understand. And if they don't understand, that's okay. It's not necessary for them to understand. You need to understand why you're saying no and why you're setting boundaries. Okay? I know it can be hard. But you can do this. You can stop doing these things to yourself. Because let me explain something. If any of these things were done, let's talk about the negative self-talk about and to yourself, right? Not caring for yourself, not getting proper rest, not eating well, not exercising. Y'all know good and well that if we did that to our children, or if we knew that was happening, we would call it abuse. We would call it neglect. We would call in the folks that whoever need to be called in to make sure that this doesn't happen. We would not allow that to happen. We are just as important. In fact, we are more important because we cannot take care of our children, of our parents, if they need us, if we are not able to take care of ourselves properly. So I want to ask you, are you abusing yourself? Let me be honest and very transparent with you. I have a very bad tendency. You guys have heard me talk about this. I have a very bad tendency of staying up really late and working until I can't see straight. That is me abusing me. So this message is for me too. I needs to do better. The work will be there the next day. So this ain't just about you, it's about me too. But we have to do better. Start small, making them changes. The first thing, the easiest thing is to start being mindful of how you're talking to yourself, the things that you are thinking about yourself. Just start small to minimize the negative, the self sabotage, the abuse. And when you're successful at it, you know what? I reframe that thought, acknowledge that, acknowledge and pat yourself on the back, because every time you make those small changes and you notice the small the things and you make that small change, it's like, y'all know I love this saying, pennies make dollars, because that very small penny, it's only 1 cent. But if I get 100 of them, I got $1. If get 200, I got $2, right? Every little bit helps. The more you practice being mindful of how you talk to yourself, how you are not getting enough rest, how you are, even if you have to set timers on your phone, and I have done that, set timers on my phone. I set reminders that I need to go to bed at a certain time and so forth and so on. Whatever it takes, let's stop this abuse of ourselves. We deserve more. You deserve more, okay? If you need some help with this, please, please, please reach out to me. You guys know I am here for you. Hit me up in my DM, click the link in my bio. I'm here for you when you are ready. Okay? That's all I got for you. But I did want to talk about that because sometimes we are the victim and we are actually the abuser too. Not an easy pill to swallow, but it's true. Okay. Any questions, any feedback, anybody? If you have any questions, I'm going to look. Please feel free to drop them in the chat. And thank you to everybody who joined me. I really appreciate it. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Angelica. Really, really appreciate it. Well, I'm not going to keep you guys much longer. Crafty Lotus says that she was just telling herself this. You could do this. I mean, it's heavy and it's hard to think that we are abusing ourselves, because abuse is a tough word. But sometimes we have to use some tough words to make some tough changes so that we can actually do better. And, you know, it's just like, y'all know I love this saying with Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. Exactly. But you can only do better when you learn how to make those changes so that they can be sustainable. Okay. All right. So again, if you need me, please, please, please do not hesitate to hit me up in my DM. Schedule a discovery call by clicking the link in my bio. I'm here when you are ready. Exactly. Crafty Lotus says, sometimes you have to get tough with yourself. Yes, sometimes we have to get tough with most of the time we have to get tough with ourselves, because getting tough with ourselves will force us to make the necessary changes that we need to make so that we can live our best life, so that we can truly be our authentic selves. And many of us, we don't know who our authentic selves are because we have so many masks that we are taking off. We're code switching all the time. There's so much. And then a lot of us are dealing with so much trauma. And I'm not just talking about the generational trauma. I'm talking about trauma from relationships, I'm a domestic violence survivor. I got daddy issues. I used to have mommy issues. Well, I don't have daddy issues anymore, but I had mommy and daddy issues. So we all got some stuff that we have had to deal with or are dealing with. The key is, when are we going to deal with it on a positive manner where we get the necessary help so that we can be proactive in what we're doing, so that it's, like, again, sustainable. And that's the key. Everything that we do, it needs to be sustainable so that we can carry it forth, and so that we can break the generational cycles. Because I don't want my daughters dealing with the same thing that I dealt with. Although they may be, because I didn't get this till 10, 15 years ago. But um, at any rate, they get it. They're getting it now, right? Well, I hope you guys, again, I hope this information was helpful. I hope it revealed, shed some light on some of the things that we're doing. And I will see you guys in the next live video. Okay. And if you're catching this on the replay, please let me know in the comments. Okay. And don't forget to share, like, and comment. Okay. All right. Have a great one, guys. Take care. Love you all.